behind the chair for 14 years. I went back and got my master's degree in chemistry, and shed a lot of light onto the processes we do in our world. And one of the things that I'm really grateful for owning my company that I get to do is actually do things like this, where I can explain in our words the things we're doing that only scientists explain in their words. We are going to be doing this again in the future. And if you guys have something that you would like to know about, please let Courtney know. Okay, so tonight we are going to talk about keratin treatments. I want to start off a story. The first time I was ever introduced to a keratin treatment, a family friend came in and we were all sitting around in my grandma's living room talking about shooting the breeze. She mentioned she'd gotten one of these new Brazilian blowouts. And I am looking at her hair going, I thought they were supposed to make your hair look good. This is when I was already in school, so I wasn't working anymore. And she said, oh yeah, it makes my hair so soft and smooth and I don't have to do anything. Her hair was pushing away from itself and it was so frizzy and damaged. And I'm looking at her thinking, do you really think your hair looks smooth and soft? Is that really what you're seeing? Did a little more research, understood some of the chemicals they use, and was kind of horrified. And then I began to understand what a problem it is. So I'm just going to really quick walk through what keratin treatments do so that everybody knows, okay? And as with everything I tell you obsessively is based on research. There is data to back up everything I'm saying. So please, if you want to know my sources, if you want to double check me, I will give you the sources. Complete honesty, if you want to know more, email the authors. There is nothing a scientist loves to do more than talk about what they researched. You want to know, they will tell you. This is what do keratin treatments really do. Like I said, Kemi Parsons, I'm the IUVENI CEO, inventor, chemistry nerd. So now that I've given you my bona fides, this is the paper I am taking my information from. Just a heads up, if you want to know, NIH, so PMC, NCB, NLM, NIH.gov is kind of the clearinghouse for a lot of scientific articles. If you want to go there, all you really have to do is type in nih.gov and you'll get to here. This paper that we're going to discuss tonight is straight to the point. What do we know about hair straightening? And they actually go into all the different kinds of hair straightening. It is pretty well written. And if you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I would love to. Courtney, I sent her this link and she was going to put it in chat. So if anybody wants to look at it, you can just pull it straight up. What do we know about straightening? It goes through everything. But the opening paragraph on the section about keratin treatments, I just want to go through this really quick. Synthetic, hydrolyzed, liquid keratin, usually extracted from sheep's wool due to its small dimensions, penetrates quickly to the cortex and reacts with the keratin of human hair. The heat of the dryer volatilizes the formaldehyde, increasing the fixation capacity of the hydrolyzed keratin solution in the natural keratin of the hair. We're going to break this down, I promise. Protein cross-linking produces a hardening film covering the hair, waterproofing it, and keeping it smooth and shiny. This film is not so protective since the shaft remains fragile and susceptible to fractures after minimum trauma. And I get that you guys probably got the most of that. Okay, sheep protein, hair is fragile, but I want you guys to understand on a deeper level. So here are some words that this is one of the things that drives me nuts about science. It's like we have our own words that don't necessarily translate to the rest of the world. And it's the nature of the beast. So we're going to break these down. Hydrolyzed means broken down by water. Think if you crack an egg into boiling water and stir it around. So technically it's still kind of an egg, but you can't get it back into the egg shape, and it's kind of a soupy mess. So that's what hydrolyzed means, is broken down by water. Volatilized, you guys probably all knew that, is heating up a liquid until it turns into a gas, usually very quickly. Water into steam, gasoline evaporating, that's volatilization, a lot of energy. Fixation capacity. Now, what that means is in order for a reaction to happen, you have to input energy. So the fixation capacity is the ability of one chemical to fix or bond to another one. So it is a very well-known fact that you can put keratin on human hair. The thing is, once it's hydrolyzed, next time you get it wet, it's washing right off. So increasing the fixation capacity means that keratin will bond from next time you wash it, it's gone, to you get a few weeks or even a couple of months out of it. So that's when it increases the fixation capacity, the ability to hold on. Protein. That is a word that gets used so much and so incorrectly. Protein is a group of amino acids in a specific order that does a specific job. If it is not in its place doing a job, then it's just kind of broken down hydrolyzed keratin. Hydrolyzed protein literally means can't really do its job anymore. Cross-linking is a kind of protein bonding that I'm going to show you guys. So hydrolyzed, volatilized, fixation capacity, protein, and cross-linking. So we're going to go through and we're going to read that again. So synthetic, fake, hydrolyzed, broken down by water, liquid keratin, usually extracted from sheep's wool. Keratin is in so many things. So it's extracted from sheep's wool due to its very small dimensions. It will penetrate to the cortex and then react with the keratin of human fibers. This is known. If you put in protein and a lot of heat with a dryer, then it's going to do a reaction that I'm going to show you. And that this reaction will increase the hair's ability to hold on to this hydrolyzed fake sheep keratin. Protein cross-linking, that the one I'm going to show you, produces a film. And what it does is it changes the hair into a film. And it waterproofs it, which isn't necessarily a good thing, keeping it smooth and shiny. And we're going to talk about that. This film is not protective because you are doing pretty intense damage that I'm going to show you. And this is why it will break after small things like brushing. Okay, so this cool picture with the yellow and the red and the lots of gray and white, that's what keratin looks like. I'm going to show you the Cami and Hobby Lobby version of keratin. Okay, keratin. So I tried really hard to get this to work, but it didn't work. This keratin is tacky, the stuff that you stick posters to walls with, and these little red dots, and pipe cleaners. And really, it should look like this, but I needed to show you guys things. So keratin is these proteins, these peptides that wind around each other, which are fabulous because you can stretch it and bend it and do all these things that make it hair, which is why we have jobs. And I'm very grateful we have jobs and that keratin does this. Okay, so we have keratin that's been straightened out. And we have these red dots. These are a very specific kind of amino acid that has a double bonded oxygen. Because I'm a chemist, I have to draw everything. Because I'm a stylist, it makes sense when I draw it. So that red dot equals an oxygen that has two bonds. That's important because things that are alike will react the same way. It's what you learn, I think, second day of chemistry. Things that are alike will react the same way. So you have this keratin that has these red dots on the outside, and we all know how to change the bonds on the inside, right? Stretch it, put it in a curling iron, and you can get a different shape, and it will hold until you get it wet again, and then it goes back. The other thing they have is some kind of free double bonded oxygen. In this, it's very useful. In this, it's incredibly destructive. This little double bonded oxygen, in common terms, is called formaldehyde. What formaldehyde does is it reacts with the double bonded oxygen on your protein, and the high heat comes in and cuts. So this does not shift the bonds in the middle. It cuts the proteins apart. And then you take from here, you take the fake hydrolyzed keratin and go from one broken to another broken. The problem is, this is still water soluble. This will wash out. So you have taken your natural keratin, the strength in your hair, and cut it. And actually, it's not even just cut once. You will break millions and millions of these. Rachel, are you doing okay? You're looking kind of horrified.
No, I'm just having some serious aha moments, and
Yes.
It's a wonderful thing, girl. Thank you.
You're welcome. So what ends up happening is that instead of having this keratin that is an alpha helix that can move and stretch and everything, you actually turn it into something called a beta sheet. Okay, a beta sheet is not stretchy and everything else. It just folds back and forth like this. And you can stretch it a little bit, but it's really fragile and it's really brittle and you can break it. And not only that, but you have broken it into very, very tiny sizes. So wow. These are going to wash out.
Yep.
You are left with these. Does that, how are we doing?
Is everyone ready to throw up yet?
That just means it's time to do another one. They glue it back together.
So, one of the questions I have gotten is, can you do it again? Hold up. We're going to go back to the presentation. I'm glad that you guys are asking questions. So, this is a better visual interpretation than my of the alpha helix that winds around on itself is straight, and the thing holding it together is this fake keratin, and it's going to wash out. So what 2 to 6 weeks after you do a keratin treatment? So those springs are sheets. The hydrolyzed keratin will wash out. The natural protection and strength and softness of your hair gets scorched if you do anything above about 425. So you've destroyed the protection. No natural protection, keratin is weakened, and your natural keratin will then hydrolyze as your client washes their hair. Without the natural protection, your cuticle cannot lie flat anymore. Hair will become frizzy, brittle, like a pine cone, like my family friend whose hair was standing straight up, and she's like, oh, it's so lovely, it's so wonderful. And we're all like, are you high? But one of the questions is, okay, can you do this treatment again? In the intervening years, companies have made the solutions less strong. So you don't turn you don't turn as much keratin into that beta sheet. So if you do it again, that keratin, the new stuff, will react with the keratin that you didn't touch before. You cannot undo this. You just cut those keratins. You can't put them back. You can't unbeta sheet what you did. The best way I can describe it is, as stylists, if somebody comes in and says, I colored my hair and I don't want it colored anymore. Too bad. You did a permanent thing. You cannot alpha helix back what you just beta sheeted. It doesn't, you can't do it. This is how you know if you're, and there are a lot of products that say they are a keratin treatment. What I want you guys to do, pick up the bottle. I try to drink water all day, so I have mason jars everywhere. Pick up your bottle, flip it on the back. Don't look at the logo and it's all metallic and shiny or whatever. Skip that. Go to the back and look at the ingredients. Look for anything that has aldehyde. It could be formaldehyde. It could be any of these words, which all mean formaldehyde. Methanol, formalin, formic aldehyde, oxymethylene, methylaldehyde, oxymethane, methylene oxide. All of those words mean formaldehyde. There's some that are now using something called glutaraldehyde. That's worse than formaldehyde. It actually breaks down into two things that'll kill you. And then another one that's come out, and it breaks my heart, is called glyoxylic acid. It's not glycolic acid. That's actually very common. Something called glyoxylic acid. This one, if it's left on your skin will absorb it. Once it gets into your bloodstream, they're actually doing a lot of investigations now because this is so common that it absorbs into your blood. Your kidneys try to filter it out. It is so toxic that it shuts your kidneys down and people are going into renal failure. Rachel, how are you doing? Thank you guys for being here. Thanks for learning.
Well, I mean, no wonder why so many hairstylists are sick with cancer and other issues and autoimmune issues from all the chemicals that we are touching on a day-to-day basis. And then, throw keratin treatments on top of that, and we're just doing ourselves in, not only ourselves, but our clients as well.
Yes.
So I have a question.
Hey.
I'm actually, I've been doing hair for 25 years, but I'm fairly new to keratin treatments. I think I've done maybe 6 in my career. So hence, thank you, Miss Donna, for this. So my question is, these formaldehyde-free ones, right? That's the last one you said that breaks down and can cause renal failure. That's what's in those, I assume?
Mm-hmm. There's all kinds of stuff that they use to say it's formaldehyde-free. We are not, the beauty industry is woefully under regulated. There is no one saying what's safe and what's not. It's supposed to be the FDA, but I actually went through the FDA to make my product, and all they say is you have to put the names on the back. That's it. I would love it if we could actually push something through that's truth in advertising in our industry, because the original educator for Brazilian blowout died of cancer.
Well, that's no surprise.
Yeah. So thank you guys for coming and learning. Please pass this on. Please pass this on. So the other thing is, you might hear this, and I would like to clear this up, that, you have formaldehyde in your body. That is true. You have formaldehyde in your body in minute amounts. And here's one of the things that happens you have to understand. In order for your body to turn food into energy, there are these so many reactions, and formaldehyde is a small reaction, small thing in one of the many circles that is very strictly controlled, and it doesn't go anywhere except this one little part of your cell. It is not like breathing in the parts, the ppm, the National Institute for Safety and Health has set the carcinogenic limit for formaldehyde at 0.01%. Scientists who would capture the air that stylists are breathing in clocked it at between 3 to 11 ppm, which is 10 to 100 times the cancer-causing limit for every treatment. So if anybody tells you, oh, formaldehyde's in your body, kind of. Not in these limits and not just free floating around your entire body, causing all this damage. Thank you guys for listening. Now we have about half an hour. I'm opening it up. Do you have any questions? Rachel, I can tell you have questions.
Girl, I'm so here for this. First of all, I don't know that I'll ever use keratin again, to be quite frank with you, because you're not, though, even the kind that I got, like, you can't smell it, you can't see it. So there is no like cloud that comes off of the one I was using, but I know there is, but you can't physically see it. I'm still breathing it, so I don't think I'm ever going to use it again. But how is your product different? I'm brand new to this. So like, how is your product different, and why would I use that over, say, a keratin treatment for my client? Okay. So those of you who already know, I'm going to give the 30-second intro into my product really quickly, because this is truly just meant to be a teaching. Really, truly. Okay. I play with it all the time. This is my stuff. Okay. As I am a grad student, I come across this paper describing the fourth part of hair. And I'm like, what? Wait, what? What is a fourth part of hair? I know hair. What is this? It's literally the glue that holds your cuticle together, holds your cuticle to the cortex, and then protects all the keratin. Okay. Okay. Then I start to understand what this fourth part is made of. And then I understand what we do as stylists, and I start to get really pissed because why are we doing this? And why isn't anybody addressing this? And I get mad, and then I get mad enough that I'm going to write a paper, because that's what you do in academia. You write a paper. And then somebody comes to me and says, hey, Cammie, you should start a company. I'm a single mom. I'm like, yeah, I'll start a company. I don't know what that means. If somebody ever tells you to start a company, kick them in the shin and run away. But
you're doing amazing, though.
Thank you, Tracy. So it only does one thing. The only thing it does is repair this fourth part of hair. It repairs the cuticle can shut down again. The cortex is protected. Your hair is soft. Your hair is strong. Your hair won't break anymore. But, okay. And then because we just went through this, the ingredients on the back, I formulated it. This is food grade. You can eat this. All that's in here is the stuff that is in your cell membrane and buffer system. And if you want to know more, I would love to talk to you one-on-one. That's in essence what it does. It makes your hair soft. It makes your hair strong. It protects it, repairing this one part of hair. Thank you so much for listening, Kay. Any other questions? Peter, Thomas, you're muted.
Can you go over again how the formaldehyde
breaks?
Takes the alpha helix and makes it into a beta sheet?
So when you do a keratin treatment, I don't know because I've never watched one. And in all honesty, now that I know this, if I see a keratin treatment, I'm going to sprint away because I don't want to breathe that in. From what I understand, you soak the hair in the solution, and the solution contains these formaldehydes, these very small, very powerful little molecules. And then you use a flat iron, or you use something to pull the hair straight.
Yeah, they don't become formaldehyde until you get the flat iron. It doesn't become a gas
Right.
until the heat of the iron goes.
Yes.
Yes.
You can't put formaldehyde in a bottle.
Yes. Yeah.
You're still getting a chemical reaction with the heat.
Yes. Lots of chemical reactions happen in the presence of heat. When don't do this, but if you ever take OChem, it's called the conditions of a reaction. You
Mhm.
have to know all the conditions of a reaction. And without that, you're not going to go from step A to step B. And so when you use the flat iron, what you're doing is two things. You are taking this alpha helix and you're actually pulling it straight.
Okay.
That physical motion is turning it into a beta sheet. When you use a flat iron normally, you're doing the same thing. It's just that's temporary.
Yes, because of the hydrogen bonding. And now I'm getting it. Okay, so the flat iron on blow dried hair
Yep.
turns it into a temporary beta sheet by realigning the hydrogen molecules.
The hydrogen and the ionic bonds.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Or
And
salt bonds, whatever.
Salt bonds, yeah. And then when you've got your sheep keratin and your formaldehyde bonding together.
Yep. What you've done is you're taking the formaldehyde, actually, how deep do you guys want to go?
Take me there.
Go deep.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So, this is really what keratin, like if you were to be able to see it, this is what it would look like. You have these red dots and I don't know if you can see, this red dot has two bonds to this gray dot. Okay. And if you look on the other side, you can see the O that's double bonded to the C. Okay, so what is happening there is that there is energy between, can you guys see my mouse? The little green dot, kind of, is right here. I wish we were all in the same place and then I could so if you look at the blue one with all the letters in it, right in the middle, you have C and then the funky triangle to another C and then a line to an N. Can you guys see that?
You can see it now.
Okay, so you have this O that has these two lines to this carbon, right? What happens with this little bitty red dot is that this is just an oxygen double bonded to a carbon. And so what it does, it's like a perm. A perm has a sulfur and a hydrogen on essentially a sugar, really. And what that does is that is similar enough that it causes the sulfur to sulfur to break. Where's the sulfurs? I can't find them. But this formaldehyde is small enough and similar enough that what it does is it's a little bit more right. It will fit better for this one nitrogen right here. So this nitrogen will break this bond with this carbon and hook to the formaldehyde. So that nitrogen to carbon bond is this brown, this peptide. Did I stop sharing? Okay, right? Good. Okay. So that's the really important. So when that carbon to nitrogen gets broken by the energy of the formaldehyde and the energy of the flat iron, that's what causes that. And if you guys want to, I could tell you the energy is really quick. Go ahead.
So is it like little tiny fractures almost? Like just a whole bunch of little tiny fractures it causes in it?
Millions
okay,
of those.
Cool.
Yes. And it causes that keratin to no longer be whole. What you did is you just cut it about 6 different places in the middle of it. And you got to understand, like when we're talking small, Keratin, one single keratin is so small that you can fit 10,000 on the width of this paper. So
if I were to try and describe this to, say, a customer, right?
Yes.
You're asking me about, should I or shouldn't I do a keratin treatment? And I'm like, no, it's bad. Would a nice way of saying it is that when you put the keratin onto the hair and your flat iron, you're basically shattering the hair into millions of pieces and then putting it back together with a synthetic.
Yes, that is 100% accurate. It is this synthetic keratin that's holding it together, but this is fake and it's not going to last.
Right.
And it's going to wash out. And
so then after that washes out, then you're left with dry, weak, brittle hair. Now we do it again. Let's say they're like, okay, let's just do it. I want it. And now they come in 3 months later and they want it again. Now what's going to happen to the hair?
Now, all that stuff that's broken off and washing out, you can't put it back. So you're going to damage the next layer down.
And then the next layer and the next layer and next layer.
Until your hair breaks off.
Basically have no more cuticle left.
Keratin. This doesn't do anything.
Keratin. I'm sorry.
No more keratin, no more cortex. What's going to happen is your hair is going to get thinner and thinner and thinner until it snaps.
Boy, am I glad I stopped doing these here.
The thing is, though, when your client leaves your salon, they're going to feel amazing. It's going to be like, oh my gosh, my hair is it's so smooth. It's so shiny for about 2 weeks.
Sure.
And then the rest of it kicks in. And here's the kicker. This is the part that really puts me. I'm generally a kind person. Let's just get that out there.
I can vouch for that.
Thank you. The chemists who did this knowingly, they knew what they were doing. They know what formaldehyde does, and they put it into this bottle, and they signed off on it.
So when money is involved, all morality goes out the door.
No, not all. Not all. There are some people who are honest. There are some people,
but very few. It's rare to find those honest people, but when you start throwing millions of dollars and they know they can make bank, all morality goes out the door. It's unfortunate.
It is unfortunate. However, it's a choice.
Yeah.
And everybody here has that choice.
Right.
Yeah. And we have the choice to seek out the companies that deal honestly with the industry. And I mean, that's why I hooked up with IUVENI, because I could see right away that it was honest work being done. And because I had researched the CMC and I've been after companies, I've been associated with a lot of different companies, but and a friend to many others, and I've been begging them to make a product that would restore the lipid layer. And when I found Cami, and that was thanks to Sherry, honest and having honesty and integrity as the foundation.
Thank you, Donna.
That's the best way to do it, and that's why I'm an educator with IUVENI. So
you had a question, and I'm really sorry. I keep looking. Lenita.
No, it's Lenita. It's fine.
I'm sorry.
Okay. So every time that I've seen IUVENI programs that I attend, I had a previous engagement. So when I saw this, I just wanted to hop in because I really wanted to understand your product and what it is. And so now, what do you call that product that you held up? What is the classification? What is that product? Yeah, what's your good stuff? What's it called?
Okay. Do you guys want me to explain it really quick? I can do my thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nobody's saying no.
Are there any other questions about Leslie? Any other questions I can answer about Okay, I'll do my thing really quick, but then you guys got to promise to come back to the next one. We're going to do one of these per month. Come back and listen and learn. Okay.
Absolutely.
Promise.
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay. I got to go. I'll be right back. Okay. I'm going to walk you through what it is, what it does. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. First thing I got to do is, because we are stylists, we have to have a picture. If we don't have a picture, it doesn't make any sense. Incredibly brilliant people. I wish I had a scope this powerful. I do not. This is hair.
Okay.
This is hair that has been cut like this. So they take it and cut it and then take a picture of the end of it, which is so cool. These things that, Rachel, you're in Pennsylvania? Are you going to Seven Springs? Come see us. Okay, so these things that look like walls, that's your cuticle. Like, oh, that's kind of cool. 7 to 10 layers, depending on the person. Unless you're me, then you get 3. Just kidding. But then this, Tracy said they look like paving stones. These white things, that's your keratin. That's your these. These black dots, that's your melanin. That's what colors your hair. And then this gray stuff that's surrounding everything, that's your CMC. And until a brilliant researcher, Dr. Robbins, actually came through and was able to exhaustively prove what this was like. They knew that hair had lipids, but they kind of understood, but they kind of were making guesses. And Dr. Robbins, who unfortunately has passed on, is the one who actually characterized it. It's this gray surrounding the paving stones, this that's in between the layers, and then this other gray stuff. That's your cell membrane. So this is my aha moment. Furious, angry, walking around swearing. Okay. Sorry. Like I said, generally I'm a kind person, but everything in our hair happens in water. Okay. Everything in our bodies happens. Everything on earth happens in water. And if the social media people will, next time we're going to talk about water. How cool it is, how weird it is, how necessary it is for our industry. A lot of people don't understand remember when I said conditions for a reaction? For the reactions in our hair, you have to have water or it's not going to work. So if you see water on the back, as long as it's a good product, it's there for a reason. Water. Okay, you guys are like, yes, Kemi, brilliant. And then one of the most, and I can say this, one of the most important biological molecules. There's a professor at MIT who is now arguing that the formation of this cell membrane in every cell, everywhere. Plants, bugs, amoebas, everything has a cell membrane. That arguably that cell membrane is as important as DNA. But we, as humans, have figured out that if we take seeds and squeeze them and fry chicken in it, it tastes really good. So this is actually made up of cell membranes. What's going to happen? Rachel, unmute yourself. What's going to happen when I mix?
They're not going to mix.
Yes. Because they do that, life can exist. So they don't mix. It sits on top in a nice layer, protecting, keeping it soft, all these other things. One of the most common chemicals we use in our industry as stylists is ammonia. And if we want to talk MEA and all the other alkalizers or whatever you want to call it, we can. But this is the reaction that when you put a very strong base on a lipid layer, here's what's going to happen. Try this. Please don't just believe me. Try it. So you put it on. And then this reaction is actually called saponification. You just turn that lipid layer into soap. Yeah. Okay. So then, in our infinite wisdom, listening to the people who came before us, when we're done with a color, because we were told to by our teachers and they were told by their teachers, you go to the shampoo bowl and you rinse it out and you start pumping shampoo. You put a surfactant on a damaged cell membrane. I have to tell you, when I figured that out, I was actually walking up and down the hallways. All of the labs in my chemistry department were off of one hallway, and I'm swearing, what the? And one of the other grad students, Bryson, came out and said, Cammie, what is your problem? I said, Bryson, stylists put surfactants on damaged cell membranes. And he said, and I quote, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Yeah, it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, because this protection, this softness, this holding everything together, this glue. You just killed it. So the entire point behind IUVENI was we deserve better. We're stylists. Our job is hard enough. So how do you use it? When I dropped the water in, how long did it take for the lipids to come together? Seconds, right? Yeah, because they're lipids and because that is what they do. And I can get my biochemistry book and show you, but you're probably going to fall asleep by the first paragraph of the chapter. They do something called lipid bonding. The lipids in the presence of other lipids will self-form this layer. The ingredients in my lipid layer quencher are the same lipids that are in your hair in the same percentages. So what will happen? It will soak in, it will do lipid bonding, your hair will be protected, your hair will be soft. So really quick, put it on thick. One of the people I talked to last week, she said, so it's like icing a cake. It is like icing a cake. You don't want to leave anything off, put that everywhere. Put it on thick, leave it for 5 minutes, rinse it off. That's it.
Best thing you've ever told me, Cammie, is like when you're putting the IUVENI on, if the hair turns clear, put more on.
It's soaked in.
It's soaked in. So put more on until you see it sitting on top of the hair, until it's white.
You cannot overuse it.
So much sense to me when I do the hair and I'm doing somebody's hair who had their hair jacked from another stylist, and I'm soaking in IUVENI, that hair will take up so much, and then it will finally take it, and their hair is always soft, silky, their curls spiral. It's amazing the results and how healthy my clients' hair have progressively gotten.
So is just because you're just putting back your own hair, this is what's in hair. Lanita, talk to me.
I thought I did it, but somebody was helping me. So anyway, Tracy, I think you weren't meaning when the hair looks clear. You mean when you can't see the product. You have to put it on until you see the product resting there.
Yeah,
right?
Because it'll soak in and you'll just like their hair will just look wet, right? It's clear on the hair. And then you put more on and then you'll see, because the IUVENI is white. And so you'll see that white sitting on top. It's like I put way too much conditioner on my hair and now you see the conditioner sitting on top.
How much do you need to use on your length and density of hair? About?
For my hair?
Yep.
The first time I did it, it was a good golf ball size amount.
Okay.
So a good, it was probably from the liter bottle, it was probably about 15 pumps.
Wow.
For my hair.
Mine, however, Even though it's this long, I own this much hair. It's very sad. It's very sad. I use about half an ounce.
Yeah.
And you only need to use it once your CMC has been depleted. You don't have to use it every day. Depends
How long
on-
does it last?
My hair about a month.
And
My
does
hair
it last based on what you do to your hair? So in other words, like if you don't use heat at all in your hair and you're a wash and go, it'll last longer in your hair. But if you're a person that gets highlights and permanent color and you flat iron your hair, all of that, you're going to need it maybe every 4 weeks.
Every 2 weeks,
Or
maybe. And
every time you do a chemical.
yes. Yes. So we were only scheduled for an hour. So if anybody has to jump off, thank you for coming, and please come back next time. We're going to talk more. And if you want to learn about anything, please let us know.
I want to buy some. I want to try some.
Okay, Lenita, we will get you. Yeah, we'll get you hooked up. And yes,
Absolutely, Rachel, this is the beginning.
yes.
I am
Thank you guys
so
for
here
coming.
for this. I saw that there was another product. I didn't read too fast because I was busy. So is the little individual bottles that come with like the pack, right? I think I got the mid-size pack or whatever. Is that the take home for them?
Mhm.
Okay, great.
It's the same formulation. So
Yeah.
you can either do it immediately after a chemical service. Please do it immediately after a chemical service. Never wash color again, or bleach. And the smaller one, the 4 ounce size, is for them to take home and use as much
Excellent.
as you think they need to.
I
The
find-
So what you're
keep
saying, we
wondering-
don't have
So
to
we'll send
shampoo
you
at
a
all,
link.
right?
Yeah, Rachel, we'll send you a link where you can have a one-on-one with Cami.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Because
Okay, thank
Cami
you.
does have to
Thank
go
you.
at 7,
Yeah.
but I've got
Yep,
a
you're
link.
good.
If anybody else wants it, just throw a hand up or a
Yeah.
clap or a
Yes.
heart or whatever.
And I
We'll get
charge,
you. We'll get,
I do a 120% upcharge on my retail. So I
Fantastic.
buy a 4 ounce bottle for $18. I sell it for $45. And they
Excellent.
fly off the shelf.
Okay,
Thank you.
I gotta run. We'll be
That's
back.